ads that are annoying. I think there are people that are happy to get a relevant message, especially about a piece of content they might care about, a movie or TV show they might care about. Nice to see that ad in an engaging native experience. It's the intrusive, interruptive ads, I think, that are the most contentious in the world of ad blocking.
Just last night, at this Digital Hollywood, we've been talking about ads getting better forever. Just last night, my husband and I are watching the baseball playoffs, and I said, I actually think the ads are getting better. Like, I think they are really, even the television ones, they are working harder to make them look more like content marketing pieces. Would you guys agree with that as a panel?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
So, Amy, so as the founder of a video network, is being a branded content anti-ad blocker solution a huge value proposition for you? And are your clients more and more concerned with this technology, or this is something now they know is happening and that you're providing a workaround solution for?
It is. It's a huge value proposition because we specifically target a coveted demo in moms and families. And we have found that our branded content resonates so much more. The research has shown that with branded content, there's brand affinity, recall, intent to purchase it's a lot more successful than display ads and pre-roll. So we really build an emotional story and brand experience around the content and influencers who are also very, very trusted to a lot of our community. I think the influencers are really key to the branded content.
Do you guys remember when this ad blocking thing first happened and the IAB said, we're gonna sue them, we're gonna sue the ad blockers, and then they said, we're gonna build an ad blocker to block the ad blocker, and then they're gonna build it. It was like this cat and mouse discussion. Do any of you know where the IAB stands on this, or the 4As? Was anybody making a stand about it?
I mean, obviously the IAB and they're very against ad blockers. And the view is it's likened to stealing.
License is stealing. Come closer to the mic.
Yeah, sorry. You're consuming something that's put out there that you're not paying for, and in exchange, that deal is you're going to view an ad or see an ad.
Oh, so they think that consumers have signed up for this notion of, if you're getting the content for free, we get to serve you the ad.
Now, that said, they also feel, and many in the industry feel, like we've already said, that publishers need to clean up their sites, and getting rid of intrusive ads and making the ad experience, is going to help everybody, and it's going to help folks not use ad blockers, like some folks have said.
But how do we get across the safety issue, the privacy issue?
The problem is it's not a one-to-one conversation. The website host is plugged into ad networks and resale systems, and you have no control over what ends up coming down your pipes. And the only point of control, frankly, is the consumer to say, I'm not going to run arbitrary JavaScript in my browser.
Well, and that depends on the publisher. Some publishers have a lot more control and actively take a lot more control over what ads are shown on their sites versus the ones like, say that let's just open the floodgates and whatever runs. So the industry does need to get better at making those ads more relevant and less disruptive.
But is that
I think that's the if you're looking at the content of the ads, right? It's all about being relevant to the actual user, regardless, because we do have ways to target specific ad based on demographics, based on time of use, and so forth. So if a publisher or a brand just pushing ads for the sake of pushing ads, they're wasting money, and it's harassment, right? Because it's just like, why do I get diapers or a car, ad when it's completely 100% non-relevant?
There's going to be cost there too, though. I haven't necessarily agreed to be tracked by every property I go and consume content from. That targeting comes from linking through these vast databases, again, information being resold outside of my purview that I'm not aware of, to deliver that targeting. And along the way, of course, there's several layers of technology that we have no control over. Part of it's malicious, part of it, because ads get pulled from everywhere. These are ad resale systems that track you. Someone can use that to put whatever they want in front of me.
Yeah, but again, look at the exchange, and I'm not justifying that, but if you're looking at the exchange that we're getting free content, right, and the only way that we can provide, or the brand can provide, or the publisher can provide free content is through the ads.
Yeah, I don't think
So-
consumers are gonna get it all their way. You're
Right.
either gonna have to give up your data, or you're gonna have to pay,
Because-
or you're gonna have to see an ad, so that content could now not be, there are some companies that say, yeah, you're gonna block the ad, you can't see my content anymore, but you can pay for it.
Well-
Hold on, let me get to this guy over here, he had a comment.
So you talked about the personalized targeting, and you mentioned watching something on the MLB network earlier. So if I'm watching something on the MLB network or Hulu, I'll see an ad, and it's okay, it takes 30 seconds, 45 seconds or so, but then I'll see the same ad 4 or 5 times throughout the same content.
Right, so that's the difference, right? Because then we're talking about the content, and that's a different conversation. There's a conversation about is it intrusive and should I get it? No one is complaining about the 30 or 60-second ads on TV, right? We got used to it. It's the way we are. They're completely not relevant to 75 of the population because they're just like pushing those ads. Hopefully, right, the online ads that you're getting are one shorter, right? And second, are a little bit more relevant to what you do, hopefully. So now, a lot of the advertising and the brands are failing in that because either they're not having the right call to action or right message or right content integration, or the publishers like pushing for the sake of
Well,
pushing.
let's move on to this discussion about, yes, go ahead.
Hi, yeah, I have a couple of thoughts. So first of all, I think that implying that somehow an internet consumer owes you something for having viewed content is frankly, it's a little bit insulting. I know I run an ad blocker, and when I encounter a site that's like, hey, you've got to unblock this or don't see our content, I'll go see content somewhere else, right? So I feel like this dialogue needs to evolve a little bit. Secondly, I'm just curious, like as a privacy advocate myself, kind of curious about how much responsibility advertisers take for what happens with after you collect user data, who that gets sold to and how it gets aggregated. I kind of was curious about what you guys thought about that and what responsibility you have.
Anybody else want to respond, Josh?
So I think what you're seeing right now with a lot of the major publishers that we're working with is there is a paradigm shift. Like right now, imagine you're running a business and your P&L keeps shrinking, but the pressure on you to increase revenue keeps going up, right? And imagine you have this thing that's been making you all this money for all this time, but that value keeps going down. So that's what's happening. That's why a lot of these sites are just going over the top with advertising because they haven't figured out how do we bridge the gap, right? And there is a social contract, I believe, between the consumer and the producer, right? It's not cheap to produce. It's not cheap to have editorial staffs, right?
And all the jobs that are involved in between, all the people that sell the ads, that make
So
the content, or that
there-
make all these platforms.
There is a social contract, but what they're coming to, like companies like mine, is trying to find new ways of integrating native advertising. You'd be surprised on these large organizations that didn't have a native ad team until like this year, major companies. And the reason why they're doing that is for that purpose. They understand that it's annoying, right? They understand that you don't want this stuff. They understand that it wants to be targeted. But they don't have solutions yet, and that's what they're really hustling to try to find, so know that. That's why I'm hoping we're gonna do well. But, the idea ultimately, and finding new ways of making revenue, right? Like bridging gaps with digital video with commerce, but not the crass way, and balancing user experience. But the main key is native, honestly. I think the programmatic folks are the ones that are gonna get really destroyed in all of this because there is this pendulum swing where we're just trying to figure out the right balance.
So let's move on to the concept of content marketing. Somebody brought up content before. So for the audience, right? So how many of you guys see a piece of content marketing, which is really an ad disguised as content you might want to, consume? How many of you guys find that useful or beneficial? Content marketing. You see ads like this?